Hello and welcome to Dual Attack. Here we have a game played on the 27th of March between myself, Connor, on the left, and Josh on the right. Do you want to introduce yourself, Josh?
G'day, I'm Josh. I'm the guy playing Crix and enjoying himself doing so. Uh, it's great to be here, Connor. This is a fun game.
Cheers. Um, do you remember what scenario we were playing? Two cohorts in the middle, some flags. Oh, this was color
Um,
guard.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Because we kept moving the scenario around.
yeah. Alrighty. And so my flag starts on the acid bit there, and yours starts, I think, on the forest near your character
That's right.
unit.
That's correct. Yeah, and you were going to jump to the Dust Devil was like the next best option for you.
Yeah. Now, so I'm player one. I've already started here. I'm playing Kallus, and I've got
Oh,
an Archangel, a Carnivean, a Seraph, which is currently just a proxy base because it doesn't fit, um, Golab, a unit of Chosen, some Warmongers with UA, and a Forsaken. And so I'm pretty much just trying to put as much pressure up this board as possible at this stage for turn one.
oh man, and Callus 2 makes you feel it. It was really cool to see that on the other side of the table.
Yeah, and you're you're a Legion player. You're also a bit of a Callus stan. So
Oh,
you're pretty
for sure.
familiar with what this does.
Yeah, and going in, I had a very clear game plan because I knew what you did and what your strength was, and how I could lose the game quite easily to that if I didn't respect it.
Yeah,
Callous threats ridiculously in this list, right? And I'm playing Crix. I don't have that threat range. You have that advantage here in this game.
yeah,
Um,
and you're
I,
running.
I also
Oh, you go.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Well, I think you're about to say this. I'm running lots of stuff that dies to your feet.
Correct. That's
Uh,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah. So approaching this game, like I'm running a bit of a mixed list. I was trying to test something out. So the if you look at my list, you'll notice that I've got three raptors, and two of them are spiker raptors. I've got Big Pig on the other side. The general idea is that Sepsira feet is sort of needs some backup, needs some pressure, and those spikers and Big Pig guns add the pressure.
Yeah,
But I realized, so if you watch me play this turn, you've just shoved. I'm gonna actually not move too much in the middle and move right around the sides because Palace only has a 12-inch control range.
yeah, and this is where I guess your knowledge of Callus really affects how this game plays out because you're taking your time here, you're figuring out where everything threats to, and you more or less just make a big semicircle around Callus by the end of
For
this
sure.
turn.
Yeah, and I think that's the way you play as Crix into any, like, even Chimera is often a similar game plan because you can win the flanks because you can play wide.
Yeah,
I can pivot wide. You can't pivot as easily as I can pivot. So I'm trying to force you to pick a side, and then I'm going to win the other side and collapse the other side with feet.
yeah,
That's essentially my game plan.
yeah, and
Uh,
so your Sepsira, I believe, whose feat is that you summon a unit of Mechanothrals, and they can activate the turn they come in. Correct?
yeah, yeah. So just the initial guy, this is a big thing. We were both playing footsies this game. I was playing it around your beat range and Archangel threat and melee threat of Golab especially, and the Chosen. You had a lot of threats. But I have the Mechanothrals, which 18 inches on the first guide, but if I get an 18-inch charge, then I can place the other four another 2 inches beyond that. And so it's that's 20, and then plus the 1 inch base plus the 1 inch thing. It's effectively what's that? That's 22 inches, which is hard to avoid.
Yeah. I think you've just done your what's it called
Apparitions?
apparition move with those guys.
Yeah,
Which
so sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, which I think we did slightly out of. Oh, this is me showing off. There we go. You've got some
Yeah,
lovely 3D printed tokens there.
yes. Yeah, so this is the big thing with Night Terrors. Like, you can apparate, walk, and then repo, and you can see that I've got them in a few key places. That one in the middle is actually misplaced. He should have been slightly over, in hindsight. He should have gone further, well, I guess from this perspective, right, towards the far side of the board, so that he was hugging that forest a bit better, the cloud a bit better.
Yeah.
That comes up next turn, and you can see what I'm doing with my mech thralls is they're actually running behind Big Pig,
Yeah,
so
just to use the shield guard, right?
and make sure you don't get those Archangel shots that might tear him up. Here I'm actually also just trying to avoid you being able to get Kallus feats onto them.
Yeah.
So I think I'm measuring. You can see I'm measuring that you can only get a few blasts. Trying to account if you pop Blessing of the Gods, make it expensive for you, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see they're going backwards in the end to avoid Kallus feat.
The just quickly, do you recall what your rack spells were?
I took Scything Touch, I took Death's Dominion, and I took Ghost Walk. I always take Ghost Walk. I think you'd always rather have it than not.
Yeah.
I actually wonder if Death's Dominion was a mistake though.
Yeah. And what's Death's Dominion do?
Particularly here, it's Rise and Blast Resistance, and I wanted that for the Archangel, but I wonder if that's overkill for for a single Archangel.
Also, the Archangel just lights everything on fire anyway.
Yeah,
Like
that's right. So
the blast
I wonder if
resistance,
Calamity.
yeah, isn't. I mean, like it's blast resistance still something, right? But it's not as something as it otherwise would be. I
Yeah,
I'm not sure if many of our viewers, or maybe after I'm finished, everyone will be familiar with Kallus. But outside of me, I'm not sure if many of our viewers are familiar with Kallus. So just to help with understanding his game plan, he has a static rule that, oh, I think you've just clocked to me. Cool. So he has a static rule that anything in his well, it used to be battle group as of the January update. It's now army gets +2 to charge something that's on fire. So he has a global +2 speed. I have a Seraph, which is with Slipstream another +2 speed, and Kallus also has Warpath, I believe, which
yeah.
is +3 speed on a battle group model. As long as you kill someone. So anyone once they've been slipstreamed and as long as they're charging something on fire has a +4 speed boost. And any battle group model can essentially have a +7 speed going in to charge something. With the caveat there being that the Archangel cannot benefit from either Warpath or Slipstream. So this is me, I guess. I'm mostly just obviously you've sort of given me nothing, and I'm just trying to double check that. And then once I kind of come to the decision that you have given me nothing, figure out what my turn's actually going to be.
Yeah, this was a mistake though, because I think you have been measuring and working out that actually there's a place you can be on that 50 mil, the closest to us, that I just can't get to you with melee. And that was the mistake on my part with that Night Terror. He very easily could have been in a more threatening position, and my mistake that he wasn't.
Yeah, so it's not that I can get to you, but it's that I, as first player, can put models somewhere in the scenario pieces that you, as second player, can't hit on your second turn.
Yeah, and I very easily could have denied that, but that was just a small misplay. Like he literally needs to be over. I think it was like a few inches, like an inch and a half or something.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing is like because you were measuring if you could get the Ogrun in, if you could get them into one, at which point you'd have to pop blessings. So if you do that, even though I might be playing too aggressively, like I don't care because I can just recur them. That other one down the back you can never get.
Yeah, I
So
was I was very mindful of here's that my shredder going. Just quickly, the logic for the shredder here is that now with Massacre, you can use it to essentially extend either Callus into stuff or basically use it as a sprint buff. Like you can go in, Massacre, kill something, move an inch away, and then sprint further, something like that. Um, but yeah, I was very mindful throughout this game of how I use my magic attacks because I don't have many and I only have one Blessings of the God card, and you have a lot of incorporeal models.
yeah, here is you shooting my sludge thrall,
Yeah,
which sucked. He died. Um,
I think I light someone on fire. and then I maybe
Yeah,
get
the
another
next.
shot in.
Yeah, this guy took a lot of damage from memory. Yeah, there you go. Look, you rolled a 15 total.
Yeah,
Um,
good
so
numbers.
he moves slightly up. Yeah, this was very much a posturing turn for both of us. You can see my little like semicircle versus your little cluster.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's good that you can spread out though. I see what you mean. Like obviously I struggle a bit and is the value that I said just then we were double checking that I had left the Ogrun within threat of the Cav.
yeah, yeah,
Um
and moving it out to contest that zone.
yeah. So but yeah, the Cav are quite cool in the way they're relatively like your Cav, I mean, they're relatively standalone.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think Sepsira in general can play wider than most casters because her kit doesn't really rely, like she doesn't have a feat that relies on her control range, so you can play out of her control range with very little side effect. The biggest thing is the Fury aura, but because she has Repo 3 as a field marshal, like a battle plan, she can make the Furies like I have done here. You can see they're really spread out. And basically, every turn you'll see me put Repo 3 on the Furies
Yeah.
because that means I can extend that range, keep one safe so I never lose all three. I could risk two and not lose the third.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if I needed to pivot, you can see that a 6-inch place plus movement plus sorry, that one on the far right or the one on the far left could affect with their aura either side of the board from this position. So they can pivot either side, and it doesn't matter that I'm playing so wide.
Yeah, the Furies are quite cool in the way they do. I also was just thinking it's quite interesting. So like your Cav natively threatened 13, right?
Yes.
Whereas my Cav natively threatened 12. My Cav can threaten further, but they all need tricks. They either need to be slipstream, they need something to be set on fire. So that's where I can't play. I mean, also your Cav are incorporeal, which is another thing, but it's part of the reason why I can't play as wide as you can.
That's true. I mean, I'm sure you could probably still play a little bit wider, but it's harder with Kallus feet. And if you had a spell martyr in faction, like that opens up possibilities a bit more, I guess, to play wider.
Oh, you mean if Dragon's Host had any kind of
Oh,
channeler at
like
all?
like they were built to? Yeah,
Yeah, that's sweet.
exactly.
Now,
Because then you could play them wider.
also just here, so in the January update, Kallus got Inviolable Resolve, and it
Yes.
slaps on these Chosen, because not only does it make them harder to kill, it also gives them no knockdown tough, and with their regeneration, they're quite cool. They're quite a resilient unit.
Yeah, this is me testing out those Spiker Raptors. You can see I've got the Repo 3 head, just to back out of that range. It's really good. Um, they're really, really solid little Raptors there. Um, they did good work. I was happy with them. I'm not sure if they'll make it into the next list, but they were what I was testing.
Yeah,
Um,
and here's me taking damage and healing, which is pretty sweet. The
yeah, I did not kill those Chosen easily. They lasted for turns and turns here.
Yeah, and for anyone who's watched the game that as of recording has is the most recent game, but by the time this one goes up will be probably 2 or 3 games ago. There's a game I play against Josh Gigantor, where just from luck I managed to tough like 3 times in a row or something, and it really ruins his plans. So over here
Yeah,
you've gone in on the Archangel a bit, just doing some chip damage.
yeah, this is Sludge's job. They don't necessarily have a game plan. Their game plan is just to be annoying. And that's what they're doing here. They're going in, doing some damage. I think by the time you killed pretty much all of them, they had done 16 points to the Archangel just themselves. And scored that cache up the back. They're going to do that eventually. They were really just annoying, which I was glad about. That's basically their job. They play wide. They have great base stats. and no one likes killing them.
Yeah, yeah. So it's probably worth clarifying. So there's a random proxy base next to your cavalry and your chicken there, which is a cache, and my cache is sort of up right behind the Archangel.
Yes, that's right. We ran out of caches that day.
Um, well, I think we haven't got because of that. Once
Oh,
again, talking about changes for 2025, I don't think we as a community have figured out or reprinted our 30 mils.
I think that might have been the right situation. Yeah, but you can see here I'm just taking a couple of plink shots, moving those sludges up. They're really just trying to be annoying, and I've measured it so that if you sit back and shoot, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to evasive into that scenario.
Yeah.
But I think you decide to go a different route later. But yeah, they're just there taking a couple of plink shots, trying to be annoying. You can see they're taking a few points off there.
What's their power? Are they 14?
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
high.
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. But you've put yourself just outside of Pig, so Pig has got to be um difficult here. And yeah, I'm trying to keep those mech thralls wide there, but annoyingly so. And then Pig's sitting out of that range, so you can't kind of get a glorious activation with the Archangel.
Yeah, once again, it's a lot of the footsies here where Pig doesn't want to cop an Archangel, and the Archangel didn't want to take a free round of shooting from the Pig.
For sure, for sure. Because I have Scything Touch, you don't benefit from melee. That's going to be tricky.
Yeah, and I think this unit here is running, so
They
I
are.
think to some extent you probably know they're going to die, but you've got to put something into contest, and also you take a little bit of the runway off the Chosen and the Ogrun by doing this.
Well, that's right. And if you can see with where they're placed, I'm not giving Kallus any charges quite deliberately. Like, he can charge one of them, but if he charges one, he doesn't get the other.
Yeah,
So, so I was trying to make it difficult for Kallus to sort of play in the middle. He sort of had to pick a side. He can sort of go to this one over the right, but then he's not getting those high value targets. And I think, sorry, on the right, I mean over this sort of closest to us side. Actually, that's the left. But
that's right. I think at this point you can call it up and bottom, top and bottom.
maybe that's
There's
right.
actually there was a bit that happened previously that we didn't comment. We were talking about something else at the time, but Kallus was originally in the position that the Seraph is in, and then I asked you what your threat range for just being able to spawn and dunk a unit of Mechanothralls on me, and after that decision, I wiggled him back a bit and put the Seraph where he was previously.
That's why I have Ghost Walk, right? Like it just makes that so difficult for your opponent to play safely there. And this is Sepsira running. This was pretty brutal because, and you can see I'm doing that repo with the Furies again, trying to put out that Mortal Fear aura and make it difficult for you to kill all three.
Well,
Sepsira,
this is you doing
Sepsira
what
had to run.
yeah, this is you doing what you said you were going to do before, which is you can't take the center. You're going to give up the center, and you're going to pick a flank. And so at this point, Sepsira's picked the bottom flank, which is I
Yes.
assume where you think you're most powerful.
I think that's right. Like I want to avoid shooting from the Archangel. That could potentially cause me some grief. And Pig should win that side slowly. Like, I'm happy with where Pig is. I think Sludges, Pig, that's a good combo. It's going to be tough for you to win that quickly. Whereas on this left side, if I move over this side, I'm avoiding the Kallus missile beasts. Like, and I think that's what I was trying to measure. How can I be outside of Golab's charge threat?
Yeah,
I have to run over here. I don't want to kill box myself. And if I go over this side, I get to pick where your flag goes. I'm going to pick that middle terrain piece, and I'm going to try and win that middle terrain piece. At least the 50 mil.
yeah, yeah. And I think you've done a good job because up top there, you know that flag's going to go to the whirly boy, and
Yeah,
you've put like two sludge thralls and a mechanothrall there.
yeah, yeah. And look, I'm well aware that you're probably going to remove it, but you're going to have to remove it by giving me something. And my hope is that Peak can kind of clean up.
Yeah, I think you're retroactively throwing a command card here.
Oh, yeah, because I think I discussed having put duck and cover, and then I didn't put duck and cover on them.
Was that the
Um,
Furies?
yeah, for sure. The Furies take it really well here because Um, like if you with your Archangel just pop Blessing and shoot the Furies to death, I'm kind of sad. But as soon as they're Def 18 with Blast Resist, it sort of takes it off the table a bit. Like it's risky and it's a risky use of Blessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I just forgot to actually declare it, but we were playing a casual, so it wasn't a big deal. That's the usual game plan, though.
Yeah, and you can see here, I've just put that proxy base and measured everything within 12 inches because I'm currently teeing up whether that's where I want to go with Kallus. Kallus can, once I move shit out of the way, he can see that Mechanothrall to extend his charge. And I think I measure it so it hits pretty much everything. Probably,
Yes,
probably
and
not.
so this is sorry.
I was gonna say probably not Big Pig, which you can see like 6 inches away from the board edge at the very back top.
Oh yeah, that's Carver up the right up the back, trying to stay safe, casting Batten.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was sort of what I was expecting slash hoping. Is you can get one of the Mechanothrall units and go all in on it, but it's not the value feat where you get all of my support, which is up the back. I need that support alive. You're not getting my caster with it. You're not getting all the sludges. You're getting a lot of the sludges, but I think one guy misses out. And if you had gone to the other side, you probably didn't get any sludges. So this was the side that you got the sludges on.
Yeah, I think something I've been thinking about after this game is if that shredder had have been Amok, I would have been able to interact a bit better with Incorporeal. Because if I could have gotten rid of, because you can't light Incorporeal stuff on fire, right? So
That's right.
if I could have lit Incorporeal stuff on fire, I would have been a lot more likely to go for this bottom side because I could have affected your Furies and your cavalry as well.
That's very true. I think that's why I like having things like the Raptors. I think I want those to be annoying and play deep to get pieces like that, which might cause me issue. Sepsira is actually like a great gunline caster with Breath Stealer and Calamity on rack.
Yeah.
Um, but things like that can cause me, yeah, to be or can make me unstuck.
So these Warmongers are berserking their way through this unit. And I'm kind of hoping that I think I end up attacking my own guy. I had it figured out that as long as I think I end up needing to use the middle guy, which I didn't want to, but I had two that as long as things went okay, they could waste their final berserk attack on your incorporeal guys.
Yeah, that's right. And then that wouldn't have been so useful for me. Like you just end your activation, which is really good. I don't get any benefit from it.
So
Yeah, Chosen are going in, and this was a charge on that last mech thrall, right?
I think the
Uh,
middle guy charges the mech, like somebody else and the mech thrall.
yeah, I think my ILC is there, so you're just about to remove my ILC. Yeah, so that's him dead. I basically put him there to be annoying, but I wonder if that was a mistake. I don't think he needed to commit there.
I think he's quite. I always say CILC. I don't actually. Oh, Iron Lich. Is it Commander?
Oh, it was actually that wasn't the Iron Lich commander, was it? That was a Scarlock lieutenant.
Yeah. Are you running an Iron Lich Commander in this list?
Not in this list. I really wish I was. I always want everything, and Crixin can never afford it.
Now, I've just sort of retroactively moved two beasts from Warpath that should have moved during the Warmongers turn.
Yeah, and this was just the casual nature of the game, right? We were just trying to work things out.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm still like I've played a fair bit of Dragon's Host, but I've been off them for a while. I went on a bit of a
Yeah,
pirate binge and a convergence binge, so I've doing the boomerang back to old Kallus.
yeah, and this ends up becoming the more interesting part of the turn. Like I think you're trying to solve a few more puzzles here. Like you've got to get there's a mech thrall that is tucked in behind that obstruction. That's actually quite difficult to get,
Yeah,
and he's contesting.
I think well, there's a few things here. I'm trying to make it so I don't have to attack over a wall or something, which doesn't end up matter. I think I kill him anyway. But at the same time, I think I failed to check whether the other Mechanothrall, who from our perspective, is basically at Kallus's head, is within 3 inches, and I think he is.
Yeah, he was. That's right.
So
Uh,
I think I killed the guy I wanted to kill, but I forgot or I didn't think about the fact that there was another guy within 3 inches of the cohort. So I think I end up not scoring that cohort.
I think that's what happens. Yeah. Um,
And so everything that's got a real red token next to it is now on fire.
and this is a Carnivean. It goes in here, but we end up redoing this, don't we?
Yeah, once
This.
again, I'm trying to fire off a spray or something, and what do I end up realizing? I end up realizing that like I've rolled dice, so if this were in a tournament, I would not ask for it back because like it's a fuck up. But somewhere in this Archangel activation, I realized the Carnivean should be doing other things. And so I asked for a take back and you let me. Yeah, that's what it is. It's because the Carnivean has to be the second model to score the flag.
Yeah.
So I end up just not doing that.
Which meant that you couldn't kill that other mech thrall, which is where you kind of wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Because you had to pick one of the two.
yeah, I actually don't think once again, I don't think I was even thinking about that mech roll because otherwise I would have like bought attacks or something. I think I was actually going for a spray onto the what are the guys with the guns called?
The
The sludge
sludge
thralls at the
thralls.
back. Because I
Yeah.
had correctly identified that if I let them live, they would take the cache.
Which you can see up the back now that it's not guarded by the Archangel. And that's what they're going to do next turn. But this Archangel activation ends up just leaning up a lot here.
Yeah, I think it
It's
goes in, kills
dice
everyone.
damage.
What's that? Sorry.
It's dice damage on sludge falls there because Mortal Fear. So
Mm,
you're hitting armor 9 power 19 to armor 19 effectively. But here you're taking more damage as well from their explosion. I think it does another 2 or 3 points.
yeah, and I think I dropped the animus as well.
Yeah, that's right. So that the fire doesn't go out because there's that one up the back which is on fire, but now within the sludge with the Archangel spray. And that was the one that got hit by the blast damage that you rolled like really well on. And so he's about to get killed next turn potentially by that fire damage.
Yeah, and so here I'm applying. I had like two different vectors of how to apply this speed buff. I could either slipstream the Golab, or I could set the thing I want to charge on fire. So I end up setting this guy on fire. I realized partway through this that I've just realized it there. I'm now out of control range, so I kind of commit to it anyway. But I just preemptively cast sprint on it because if I can just
Yeah.
total the chicken and I can sprint back away into safety. And I
And this was really risky because you go for the shot on the Seraph first, which needs nines to hit, which is not unreasonable, but could have missed, and then I dodge out.
I
But
just
then flares him.
yeah, I was just realizing. Did we remember flare at the time?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was counting it
Yeah,
because
sweet.
then you roll a 5 to hit, I think, a less than a 5 to hit,
Yeah.
which is you know, as soon as you miss and you just get to dodge out.
Yeah, it's the
Um,
sort of thing where it was clearly the wrong decision, but I kind of was like halfway through doing it when I realized it was the wrong decision. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
fuck it, we'll just do it. Because if I keep Golab, oh, this is a bit where we end up calling a judge.
that's right.
So I think I've since checked this, and fire triggers first.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's what we do here as well.
it is, but I wanted to at least, yeah, do some double checking. So I think you pass a number of tough checks with those guys.
I think that's right. I think I passed no tough checks into the Warmongers and then passed the ones here, which is perfect for me and terrible for you. It's like the opposite of what you want.
Yeah,
Um, and here by the end of this, the Archangel is on 40 boxes and Big Pig is going to go in. Uh,
yeah. I just something I've only just thought of now as we're rewatching this is if I had not put Golab where he is and I had thought about things better, I could have used Golab as a guaranteed kill for those Mechana thralls if I just like popped him up the other direction or done something else with him because he has the everything can't be healed well within 5 inches.
Yeah, that's very true. Yep. Yeah, that would have been quite a annoying thing to deal with there. Entropic Aura is quite useful into me. Uh, this turn was a little bit tricky for me. I'm obviously jammed up. I've got that unit of iron. What is it? The arm buff chosen. I've got the Warmongers, Golab, Seraph all in my face. I've got to kill an Archangel. So I really had to start on the left and move across because my Scything Touch is on this Night Terror on the closest to us. You can see the little purple token is Scything Touch.
Yeah.
So I really need him to do some work for me. So you can see they're apparating into positions where I'm now going to start threatening things.
And so just to quickly, the one apparating out of combat is relevant because I believe they've updated the unstoppable rules so that you can't essentially teleport while in combat to get a charge attack.
Yeah, I don't know how that interacts with Incorp because Incorp is a slightly different rule to Unstoppable, but I suspect it's probably similar. Here it was just easier to do so and it didn't really matter otherwise. I could get wherever I wanted to be.
I think even if you're incorporeal, you still can't charge if you're in melee.
There's a maybe. I think you don't get the charge benefit, but I think they can still charge because there's a specific wording that says that they can. I can't remember how it exactly works.
Oh, there you go. Well, sound off in the comments if you know how to charge with an incorporeal model.
I should
Um,
probably, but I don't.
so now you've gone in on the Seraph here. You've got I want to say the Seraph was he damaged or not damaged? I think he might not have
It's
been
undamaged.
damaged.
And so it really mattered that my first attack did damage. And then I got lucky and hit 2 unboosted 7s. I get cav charges, so those are pretty likely, but then I needed to hit those unboosted 7s.
Yeah.
But this is sort of not amazingly ideal for me. I uh, I I'm gonna end up having to commit a lot to kill all of this stuff here, and probably more than I want. I don't want a feat, and I think this looks like it's feat turn. So we're applying some focus to these raptors. They're gonna try and kill Golab.
Yeah.
That's why I was measuring. They stand and aim, take their shots, see how they go.
So you were
Um,
telling me earlier that this was an experiment, right? These spike raptors or whatever.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yeah.
so this is an experiment. You're trying them out. How do you feel about them?
I think it's a case of you kind of want everything all the time in Crix because everything's so good. Um, and you can't take it all, which is sort of the problem. Here, I think it genuinely does apply another significant vector of threat because essentially, like if you've just got Sepsira feet, people can avoid that. You add Pig, it's harder to avoid both vectors. You add the Spiker Raptors, it's two more 19-inch vectors that aren't insubstantial. Like they're decent. And so at that point, I think they did well. They definitely got their points back. I don't know if they'll make it into every list, but I was happy with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like maybe I keep them and drop Pig and take something else. I'm really not sure. Um, I wasn't 100% happy with the list. It felt very flimsy.
Yeah, I
I think
was. I think at a certain point, and it's like it's when I went for my Golab charge in the previous turn. At a certain point, I like look at your list and I'm like, oh, where's the heavy for Golab to kill? And I'm like, oh, there isn't one, which is why I go in on the light. But yeah, I mean, for that reason, I guess I was surprised there wasn't like a workhorse heavy in there with like an axe and a shield or something like that.
they're hard to get a lot of value out of with Sepsira. I think if I were to get a more this is a take back for
Yeah,
a
just a reposition.
repo. Um, if I were to do this again, what I would probably do is try and fit in some more heavy infantry, maybe a necro harvester, some sludge, some brute thralls,
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe another. I really like a second unit of night terrors, but it's just not. It's not feasible all the time. This is my feat, so you end up using my feat up, which I wasn't super great, like happy about, but was necessary here.
Yeah, and this
Uh,
is
um,
also why the repo mattered, right? Because you now needed a space to land those guys.
yes.
And we also, to preempt the next 30 seconds, have a bunch of wiggling around where we try to fit how they're all going to
Oh,
go in because they need to get in, but also there's the cohort objective and all the rest of that jazz. I think we figure it out in the end.
yes. This was. I'm so sorry. This is such a mess, and it was so much easier if I'd just done it differently. I cast Ghost Walk on them, so it was easier. Whatever. It was. We got it in the end. We got it in the end. Um.
Excellent.
So yeah, because we're trying to get gang. The constraint is we're trying to work around the unit objective, the cohort objective. We want gang for the attacks, and I need to be able to attack all three. So there needs to be two models within one each of your warmongers. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that was the exercise.
and I think the other thing I've seen this dance happen so often with is when people go in with trolls, especially because with the medium bases, like it's a similar dance that people end up having to do. I think gang just causes people problems, and it's not that you can't. A lot of the times, it's mathematically possible to get the guys in, but it's just a question of how much time do you waste doing it,
Yeah, that's
which
right.
on a clock game kind of matters.
Yeah, and so this feated unit takes out the rest of those warmongers, which was good. But at this stage, I still haven't dealt with the Chosen. I still haven't dealt with the Archangel, and I really don't have anything to do to deal with the Chosen. I just have to let them sit there.
Yeah,
The one benefit I've got is that my Cav are not in corp and blocking charge lanes to my caster.
yeah,
So here I cycle. So I've cycled Scything Touch at this point. To the Necrosurgeons, and then just moved and unit placed them to give that to the Archangel, and you can't see, but I've just charged in Big Pig. And this was really frustrating because I think it was an 85% chance to kill the Archangel who was on 40 boxes, and he just whiffs. Like,
yeah. I
he
think you
gets
just
it
rolled a
down.
double one there.
Yeah, yeah. So I missed two attacks or something, which was
There's
frustrating. Yeah,
there's another one I think.
that also misses. Yeah, because you're just a slightly higher def gargantuan. So that was very frustrating. You can see you're still alive. Big Pig's activated, and at this point, I don't have anything to contribute. So this is your turn to clap back,
Yeah,
and this is where I'm going to lose quite a bit of stuff. But
so you're all up on scenario 3-2.
yep, because I got that cache with the sludge up on the top left.
Oh, I think I think I remind you that those guys haven't activated.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
And I think the thing I just wrote down was we discuss, and I realized that cache is worth an extra point, so that's why you went from 3-4.
That's right. That's right. And you went from 1 to 2. Oh, maybe we adjust that later. I remember us adjusting that later.
Yeah, I think as a similar chat about how many points a flag's worth, I think we get it in the end. So I guess just for our audience, if
That's
you
right.
see us randomly fixing scores halfway through the turn, that's why.
That's right. Yeah. So
Now
uh,
I am not a big fan of Forsaken, but I am very excited for a hot moment here when I realize that my Forsaken can actually go and attack someone and do something. The only thing I'm juggling between is figuring out whether I pop the Shroud, which is a power 8, or if I go in with just standard melee attacks. I think your guys are armor 12 or 13.
13. Yeah.
So I figure at least if I throw attacks, I get the chance of, if I fuck it up, attacking
And
again.
this was so unlucky because you missed what 5 sevens,
Yeah, I think I did all of them, and then you tough it.
and you got one and I tough. Yeah, that sucks. That's so unlucky. Um, yeah, I wasn't expecting to survive there, but for some reason I did,
Yeah.
and that was good news for me.
Yeah, I just can't remember if well, I guess we'll see if I manage to unstick and sort that out over the turn. But I just really want them dead so I can score that cohort and I can just keep moving the needle on those points because sure you've got my cache, but that's only a once per game thing. And if I can
Yeah.
keep threatening and keep in charge of all of the other zones, that's good. Something else which we can't see, but I'm pretty sure when you clock to me, you only had like a minute left, and we're not like running super hard on clock. I think we both essentially clock out in the end. But if this were some sort of high stakes game, I you only have a minute left, so I could probably have played this turn quicker, and then as long as I'm up on points, I could just give it back to you.
Yeah, I think that's right. I had a very low clock. I can't remember exactly, but this we I mean, part of it was that we sort of had this agreement at the beginning, like we're trying to play on clock, but also clock isn't the be all and end all.
Yeah,
Um
and I think I'd encourage even our audience, if you don't want the pressure of playing on clock, but you want to get better at clock, just put a clock on, and then don't worry too much if it times out. But it means that you can look at the time ticking down, and you can look at your time at the end of your turn, and you can at the very least say to yourself, my turn was too slow, or that was a good turn, I did it quickly, or whatever it is. Like, it allows you just an extra piece of information that when you're looking back on the game, you can realize if you were doing good or not.
yeah, because I think your experience of time is not always very relevant to, or like exactly correlating to actual time. And you can see where you waste more time than you might expect, or where you should have wasted time. Things like that are information pieces you can get.
Yeah.
But
Whoops.
here is us adjusting for the terrain flags, and it's probably worth pointing out that so I'm moving your terrain piece, and I've moved yours to the like Crix pylon closest to the camera, and you've moved yours to the obstruction, where Kallus is. And the hope here is that we're all trying to move our opponent's flags into a place that's beneficial,
Yeah.
as it is with color guard.
Yeah, I think both our
Um,
flags are effectively. I mean, I've picked up the piece, but they're both those like Crix pylon looking things.
yeah,
Now I've just gone the chosen there, and I think I got lucky if I'm being honest. I was like, given the options of attacking, each chosen only has two attacks. I think they came in on a charge, um, and I wasn't particularly keen to attack the Mechanothralls because they had tough, and I'd end up just eating up a bunch of attacks. And I wasn't super keen to attack your cavalry either. Um, but I kind of ended up attacking the cavalry and killing two, which I thought felt a little bit pleased about.
yeah, no, it seems like a good option. They're not all dead though, which means that I still have the option to recur them, which will be good.
Yeah,
But here, yeah, like your cav are very difficult for me to deal with at this point. I'm running out of pieces to deal with them. Yes, I really don't have a lot on the table that's doing work because it's hard to get work if I don't have charges.
yeah. I think if I can take out your cav, which once again, I one lives, which means you can recur. But if I had been able to take out the cav this turn, I'm feeling a bit better because at that point, Meccana Thralls, like, they can do work, but they're not too hard to kill.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
Now Kallus has healed the Archangel, so it's full working. Um, and the Archangel's going in on the pig here, and I've thought about this retrospectively. I was really holding my Blessings of the God card for dealing with incorporeal models, which means that I didn't use it on the pig, which most people often will do. It's a pretty well known tech, which means the pig was tougher than I thought it would be.
That is part of the design of my list as well. Like having a few in-corp pieces means that you have to make choices in lists like this with where you're going to commit your blessings card. And as soon as you pop your blessing card, I have a lot more freedom. But you did really well to hold your tongue and not use the blessing card too soon.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Having that in your back pocket means I have to play very differently for the whole game.
yeah, I think I was keeping it either to take out a few of the Furies or to use it to completely kill the cav unit, because I knew there was no point wasting it to kill only a couple of the cav unit. I needed, like, if I had a way of getting onto that third cav right now and popping the blessed card, I would have taken it.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's Big Pig gone. That was frustrating because at this point I really don't have much to deal with the Archangel. I've got Carver, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Carver. I'm looking at points scored. Um, it's not great.
Yeah.
So we're like, yep, 7-5. So you've gone up, and that's a bit of an issue for me. I have stuff on the table, but it's not amazing. So, uh, from memory, I start on the easy stuff on the right where I can't change things.
Yeah, it
There's a
looks like
few.
something's on fire as well. We
Oh yeah,
might be just double checking that.
that was was it my Raptor? Oh, and I popped Old Faithful for
Yeah.
that Raptor that you damaged with Golab. I had nothing else to do with my cards, so I was like, I may as well use that. Um,
So
so that's powering up apparitions. We're gonna recur those. Those guys come back,
this
and I
is
bring.
some grade A bullshit, by
So
the way.
one unit comes back to recur them. The other unit comes back to heal them back to full. So now my Cav are all fully healed
Yeah.
and Incorp again.
Although at least
That's
two of them can't activate this turn.
that's true, but I'm playing the long game, right? So I'm very happy with that. I've got still more turns to go, and I've got a whole Cav unit, so I'm feeling good. I could have played that other one more safely so that you didn't have a good chance of killing it, but um,
Yeah, and these Furies have just been getting all up in my grill all game. That +2 armor or -2 damage, or whichever rule it is they've got, has really been doing work. It's part of the reason why Big Pick was so hard to kill, because you had that and um, the
yeah,
baton.
that's why the Archangel had to go over the other side, isn't it? So, and this is where it cuts out.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the video didn't go for this full game. At this point, you've just committed the cav in on the Chosen. I'll just get you to narrate the end of this turn. But basically, I have the Chosen, I have a Carnivean, and I have an Archangel left. Do you want to let me know what you do this turn?
Well, I'd just like to point out that that dice, we don't know if it toughs or not. That's a tough roll, and it's stuck midair. Um,
I don't know why it's caught this like a frame or two earlier. I can confirm that is a tough, and I actually make a few tough rolls in a row. Like, I'm a bit pleased, but you do end up taking out this Chosen despite some bullshit tough on my half.
yeah, I end up committing Sepsira, that mech thrower unit, and the Raptors. So I end up putting a lot into you, boosting a lot of shots and stuff like that, to kill you. Over the other side, I charge in that Sludge Thrall. I think he does very little, if anything, to the Archangel, maybe one or two boxes, which was a bit sad. But then my Carver goes over to the Archangel, takes his boosted shot, and then throws a Torment and boosts the Torment for the kill. In hindsight, I think I should have boosted a Torment last turn into the Archangel, and you wouldn't have been able to heal with Kallus.
Oh, yeah, true.
Uh, that would have been quite useful, and I think I'd still have Pig alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty
But
sure I had to heal the spirit there too. So I think you're right.
so that's you learn how to play this game sometimes. But at this point, I get rid of, you've got your Archangel. Sorry, your Archangel gets removed. You've got Kallus, the Forsaken, and the Carnivean left because I get all of those chosen and I get the Archangel. That was just my goal this turn. And my caster just repos out. So she puts special mission on herself or whatever it is so that she can special orders so she can charge that have and then charge back out repo back out outside of Kallus's threat. And basically says I'm going to try and play this turn out long game, and that's basically where we call it.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, I let you finish playing out your turn, and then but I knew the moment the Archangel was down, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. uh,
Yeah,
that was my
for sure.
one ability to kind of long game it a bit.
I actually think if you go into somebody who doesn't have that sort of semicircle game plan where I'm trying to play super wide, you have are strongly advantaged into this list, especially if you maybe swap the Carnivean out for a few pieces.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
just testing the Carnivean. The Carnivean probably
that's
is
right.
either a Carnivean, an Angelius, or a Scythian, and it's just I wanted to fuck around a little bit with see if Spiny Growth would do anything. Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
I
and I
think
think the I think I wanted a power. I wanted a ranged attack. I think that's why I ended up testing the Carnivean over the Scythian because he can put out a spray, which I believe is power 14, power 16 under Dragon's Breath.
yeah. But I think if you don't play that wide game plan with Sepsira, I think you should have a much higher like bigger advantage in this matchup. I think I was very lucky to be able to sort of play this wider game on this scenario and play slowly.
I mean,
And that sort of
you say lucky as well. Like you, as someone who's played Kallus, I mean, it comes up to matchup knowledge as well. You knew what he did, and you had an idea of how you were going to work around him coming into the game.
It does, but if the scenario was slightly different, like if we played the one that two of them disappear, and that actually could benefit Callus quite a lot, especially if one of the edge ones disappears, he can pivot and basically win that, third of the board.
Yeah, yeah. I guess
Um,
you're saying there's a 2/3 chance that Kallus is good on that scenario.
yeah, and that's better, right? Like that's better than a 33% chance,
Yeah.
which is sort of my scenario. So I want to play wide, and Callus wants to play narrow. And as soon as I get forced to play narrow, I struggle. But thankfully, in this sort of scenario, I could play very wide, and I was very happy with that.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, shall we end it here, Josh?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Connor. It's been great.
No
It was a great
worries.
game.
Thanks so much for joining me and helping me out with the fact that this end of this game had kind of gotten chopped off. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Catch you next time. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.